What were the results of the 1967 war? Israel grew spectacularly. It increased its land holdings by 3 times. Many Israelis believed that it was a miracle, that God had favored them. In the United States, many American Jews discovered Israel for the first time, became proud of Israel. It became a favorite summer destination for American students. Israel had occupied the Gaza Strip, the Sinai Peninsula, eastern Jerusalem, the entire West Bank, as well as the Golan Heights, which were taken from Syria. 1.3 million Palestinians came under Israeli control. Many Palestinian camps from which people from 48 had fled into the West Bank and to Gaza were now under Israeli control again. So the Palestinian problem became an Israeli problem. Of course, Israel's confidence grew, and it began to see itself as invincible. This was not good for subsequent peace talks. Israel began to build settlements almost immediately. That meant Israelis went into the West Bank and began to build houses and communities that today have grown in size and stature dramatically. About 500,000 Israelis now live on land that was conquered in 1967. Land that the Palestinians hope will become part of a future Palestinian state. This movement of settlers into the West Bank, into East Jerusalem, has made resolving the Arab-Israeli conflict almost impossible today. Many people claim that the two-state solution, that means a solution in which the Palestinians get a state in the West Bank with the capital as part of Jerusalem, and the Israelis return back to the 48 borders, or at least borders that are based on the 48 borders, in some kind of negotiated treaty. It's believed that that two-state solution is really almost impossible today. Other results of the '67 war was the rise of the PLO. For Palestinian refugees who were living in refugee camps in Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, and in Jordan in particular, all of them hoped that Nasser, the hero of the Arabs, would be able to deal a major blow to the Israeli Defense Forces that would allow a Palestinian state to grow up in Palestine, that they would be able to return to their homes, that for them, justice would be restored. The '67 war crushed those hopes. And that hopelessness led to the rise of the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization. What was the PLO? The PLO was a small guerrilla force that had started in 1964 and found a new leader in Yasser Arafat, a young engineer from Kuwait who decided to give up making money in order to devote himself to trying to liberate Palestine from the Jews. After 1967, the PLO began to organize attacks on Israel. It began to hijack airplanes. Sirhan, who was not a member of the PLO but was a Palestinian, assassinated Robert Kennedy. He did so in order to avenge the Palestinians against the United States, which most Palestinians felt had sided unfairly with the Israelis. In many respects, the rise of the PLO for the West is synonymous with the rise of international terrorism. It demonstrated how effective acts of terrorism could be in attracting world attention to the problems of aggrieved groups who felt ignored and unjustly treated by the international system. So in conclusion, the '67 war transformed Israel into a self-confident young nation that felt that it could overpower its Arab neighbors, that it was secure, finally. It created a love affair between the United States and Israel. It also turned the Arabs against Israel in a very deep way. The Palestinians began to take matters in their own hands, and it was a great blow to pan-Arab nationalism. No longer did Palestinians have faith in Nasser and other Arab leaders to come and restore Palestine for them. They understood that they had to take matters into their own hands. A number of states cut diplomatic ties to the U.S. Egypt, Syria, Iraq, Sudan, Algeria, and Yemen. The USSR and several East Bloc countries also cut ties with Israel. The success of Israel also helped lead to the Nixon Doctrine. The Nixon Doctrine was a backtracking on the Eisenhower Doctrine that had been pronounced in 1957. The Eisenhower Doctrine, which committed America to supporting governments fearful of a communist takeover, had led the United States directly into the Vietnam War. Nixon, embattled and sunk into the swamps of Vietnam, understood that America could not commit this kind of force over and over again. He decided to change the policy and try to build up local policemen around the world who could be in charge of policing their own area. For the Middle East, this was Iran under the Shah, and it became Israel after the '67 war. The U.S. began to give Israel many more arms and tighten their security relationship, both intelligence and as a stockpiling of arms and training. So both Iran and Israel became the local policemen for the United States under the Nixon Doctrine.